He planned every hour of every day. Color-coded calendars, backup plans for the backup plans, contingencies for things that hadn't even happened yet. He thought control meant safety. He thought if he could just manage everything, nothing could go wrong. But one Tuesday morning, everything fell apart anyway. His name was Omar, 29 years old, project manager, perfectionist, the kind of person who arrived 15 minutes early to everything, the kind who checked his email at midnight, the kind who couldn't sleep if tomorrow wasn't perfectly planned. People called him reliable, organized, on top of things. But inside? Inside, he was exhausted, because controlling everything takes everything. The project he'd spent 6 months planning collapsed in one morning. A vendor canceled, a team member quit, a deadline moved up by 2 weeks. 3 things he hadn't planned for, 3 things he couldn't control. And Omar broke. Not dramatically, not loudly. He just sat at his desk and stared at his perfectly organized planner and realized it meant nothing. All that planning, all that control, and life happened anyway. That evening, he walked to a park, not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't sit still anymore. He found a bench near a small pond and just sat, watching the water, watching ducks swim, watching leaves float by. And an old man sat beside him, gray beard, worn jacket, calm eyes that had seen things. The old man didn't say anything at first, just sat there, watching the pond with him. Omar finally spoke. "How do you let go when everything feels like it's falling apart?" The old man smiled gently. "Do you see that water?" Omar nodded. "Notice how it doesn't fight the wind. It doesn't resist the current. It doesn't try to control where the leaves go." He paused. "It just flows, and still it reaches where it needs to go." Omar frowned. "But if I don't control things, they'll fall apart." The old man looked at him kindly. "My son, they fall apart even when you try to control them. The difference is, when you try to control everything, you fall apart too." The old man pointed at the ducks swimming. "See those ducks? They're not worried about tomorrow. They're not planning next week. They're just here, swimming, trusting that the pond will hold them." You can't control the water, Omar. You can't control the wind. You can't control other people, or timing, or outcomes. You can only control you, your effort, your intention, your response. He leaned back on the bench. There's an old saying, tie your camel, then trust God. You do your part, then you release the outcome. Omar sat in silence. "But what if I do my part and it still doesn't work out?" The old man smiled gently. "Then maybe it wasn't meant to work out that way. Maybe there's a better path you can't see yet." Control is an illusion, son. The only thing it controls is your peace. Omar looked at the pond again. The leaves floating by, the ducks gliding, the water flowing. Nothing was forcing, nothing was fighting. And yet everything was moving. Everything was happening. For the first time in years, Omar took a breath and didn't plan the next one. He just breathed. That night, Omar went home. He looked at his calendar, his lists, his backup plans, and he did something he'd never done before. He left tomorrow blank. Not because he gave up, but because he realized he couldn't write what hadn't happened yet. He could prepare, but he couldn't control. The next morning, he woke up without a plan, and instead of panic, he felt something strange. Lightness. He still worked hard, he still showed up, he still did his best. But when things didn't go according to plan, he didn't break. He adjusted. He adapted. He trusted. And slowly, life started flowing again. Not perfectly, not according to his plans, but beautifully, in ways he never could have controlled. Here's the truth about control. It's a cage disguised as safety. You think if you plan enough, worry enough, manage enough, you'll be safe. But control doesn't protect you. It exhausts you. Because life will never fit into your perfect plan. People will disappoint you. Timing will surprise you. Outcomes will change. And you have a choice. You can fight reality, or you can flow with it. You can grip tighter, or you can open your hands. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is trusting that you've done your part and the rest is not yours to carry. Do your best, plan wisely, work hard, then release. Release the outcome, release the timeline, release the need to know how it all unfolds. Because the river knows where it's going, even when you don't. Trust the current, trust the process, trust that what's meant for you will find you. Not because you controlled it, but because you were ready to receive it. Omar never became careless. He never stopped planning. But he stopped carrying the weight of outcomes that weren't his to control. He learned to do his part, then trust. And in that trust, he found freedom. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from the illusion of control. Just freedom. So, if you're exhausted from holding everything together, if you're tired of planning for disasters that haven't happened, if control is costing you your peace, remember this. You can't control the river. You can only swim in it. You can't control the wind. You can only adjust your sails. You can't control tomorrow. You can only live today. Do your part, then let go. Trust that you're being guided. Trust that there's a plan bigger than yours. Trust that when you stop forcing, life starts flowing. If this story gave you permission to breathe, hit like, share it with someone who's holding on too tight, and subscribe for more stories that set you free. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go and trust that you'll be caught.